up, UC fam? Your friendly food and beverage director, Josh, coming back at you during quarantine closure part 2 for another cocktail instructional video. Now, a few of you have asked me what are my go-to winter or holiday cocktails. I would typically say something like Manhattan or Old Fashioned, but that is something I drink year-round, so that doesn't really count. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a fan favorite and something you can make for large groups of people, up to 6, that you have over at your house. And that is the Spiced Apple Cider. So our ingredients first, we're going to start with, of course, apple juice. Now, as you can see, I've chosen Langer's. Langer's is not fancy. It's about $3.99 for 3 liters. You can go with something more artisanal, freshly squeezed by the gnomes of the mountain. And of course, better products will result in better tasting drinks. But I'm gonna add so much booze and spices to this that it doesn't really matter. So I'm going with Langer's. Find it at your favorite supermarket. Here we have Captain Morgan's spiced rum. This obviously is already spiced. It adds nice spice flavors to your beverage. It's also a little bit sweet to sweeten it up a bit. I've also got some Korbel brandy. Again, this is not the best brandy in the market, but because there's so much spices and other things going on, it doesn't really matter. If you want to use cognac, please invite me over. If you want to use something like Calvados, which is already an apple brandy or a pear brandy, then go for it. Do whatever you'd like to do. This is your cocktail. I'm going to be slicing up some apples because it's an apple cider, some oranges for the sweetness and a little bit of the acidity, and then just 1 lemon to give it a nice crisp finish. Over here we have our spices. I'm going to use a whole star anise, whole cloves, whole allspice, nutmeg, and whole cinnamon sticks. Now you might be asking yourself, whoa, that's going to be pretty pricey. All these spices are pretty pricey when you buy them whole. And can you use pre-ground spices, warming spices like these? Yes, you can. I will let you know that ingesting the ground spices, your body's going to digest them a lot faster. It can be a little harsh on some people's digestive systems. You'll probably see some of your guests have some rosy cheeks. That's because it's a hot beverage with alcohol, but also if you're using ground cinnamon, ground allspice, the body takes that in just that much faster, and it will have adverse effects. So if you can, do your best to use whole spices. That way you can infuse the liquid instead of ingesting it fully. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my induction stove, and I'm going to add all of my apple juice. Another way, if you don't want to use all the spices that I have, you can start with an apple cider that comes in a jug just like this, or something a little more fancy. That'll give you a head start on some of the flavors that you're looking for. But because I have Chef's Kitchen and all of his spices at my whim, I'm going to use those. It results in a better flavor. So I've got this on high. I'm going to wait to add the booze. That was 3 liters of apple juice. I'm going to use the whole bottle of Captain, yes, the whole bottle, and then half a bottle of the brandy. That's going to give me about 36 ounces, so you're looking at a 3-to-1 ratio of your apple juice to your booze, which is pretty typical for a cocktail. I'm going to let this cook for a little bit after I add all of my spices. So star anise, cinnamon sticks, and cloves, I'm going to put all those in whole. Now you may be thinking that might not be particularly tasty when my guest gets a whole piece of clove in their beverage. That's going to be something you're going to have to just kind of work around. Or you can use, like I'm going to do with these other 2, the allspice and the nutmeg, I'm going to crush these up a little bit. So I have these whole allspice and nutmeg, and it's going to take a long time to get some flavor out of these, even if I'm boiling this liquid. So there's two ways you can go about getting these open. You can do your best to muddle, which you can see it works. I am going to use Old Hickory. Now, of course, this is a lot of woo. We're going for a lot of flavor here. If you have a nutcracker, you can of course use that as well. Transfer that back into my pint, and for the allspice, I'm just going to muddle in the cup. Now you may be asking yourself again, wow, that smells great, but is that going to get in my teeth or my guest's teeth? And that's when we want to use something called a sachet. You see this a lot in French cooking. I'm going to put all of these spices into this cheesecloth. That way it's all in one space and it's not going to be leaking any small particles to get in your teeth. And you just want to tie it up with some butcher twine. Now we have a sachet full of spices. I'm going to put that whole thing in there so it can infuse slowly. Now I'm going to put in my fruit. Don't forget to take your labels off. And I'm going to go ahead and cut up the apple, oranges, and the lemon. And we'll get nice thin slices so it soaks up a lot of the flavor and contributes a lot of its own flavor. It's already smelling very nicely. All right, go on with the lemons and the orange. Now we're not going to do wedges here, we're going to do wheels. So put it on its side, just like a potato. That will just increase the contact between the fluid and the fruit. There we go. I'm going to give it a quick stir with my spatula. And I'm going to cook this on low for about an hour. Then I'll come back and I'll add our booze, cook it for another half hour to an hour, and then we should be ready to go. Okay, well, welcome back to the library, second floor. We've been cooking this on low for about an hour, and I can tell you right now that I got off the elevator around the corner and I can smell it. It's smelling quite delicious. I may have gone a little crazy with the spices, but we'll see. But now the fun part, we're gonna add the booze. Again, this is Captain Morgan Spiced Rum, dark brown rum, and I'm gonna add the whole thing because it's my party. I can do what I want. Secondly, I'm going to add about a half bottle of this brandy. It's Corbel, not very expensive, but it does the trick. And again, that equals a bottle and a half, about 36 ounces compared to our 3 liters of apple juice that we put in there. So about a 3-to-1 ratio. And I'm going to give this a quick stir and let it heat for another maybe half hour, 45 minutes, or until my guests arrive and we can get into it. So see you soon. folks, it's been about another hour, around 2 hours in the making for our spiced cider, and I can tell you the whole second floor smells incredible. If I had a candle that smelled like this, it'd be lit year round. So now let's try it. Again, it's fun to get some fruit in there. Try not to get any cloves. Cloves are not good for you to eat. If I did this again, I might add the cloves to the sachet just to make it that much easier. And I'm going to top it off with a slice of apple. All right, folks, there you have it. Yeah.